Today we mark a moment of shared history and shared victory. We recall a story that all Americans can celebrate and every American should know. It is a story of ancient people called to serve in a modern war. It is the story of one unbreakable oral code of the Second World War, messages traveling by field radio on Iwo Jima, and the very language heard across the Colorado Plateau centuries ago. Above all is the story of young Navajos who brought honor to their nation and victory to their country.
My name is John W. Hood. I was in the Marine Corps in World War II from 1940 to 1945. My assignment was to train the first group of Navajo Code Talkers. There were 29. When I was born, my dad was farming on the home place where the big spring was. He built a shack over the spring. He designed the truck to carry 5-gallon bottles of water, and the first truck carried 48 bottles. And one thing he had to do to sell the water was to have a periodic analysis of the water. And they said that it was absolutely 100% pure. And he used that in his advertising. We had a strong disciplinary mother and dad. And we were punished if we broke the rules. Our parents always told us that you had to be honest. Don't lie. And that reminds me about my own story of that. I had just graduated from high school and I was 17. This was at the end of the Depression and things were still rough. I ended the summer without getting a job and decided I'd go into the Marine Corps. I couldn't get in because you had to be 18 and I was 17. And I talked to my parents about it. But the only way I could get in would be for them to sign papers that I was 18. Finally, they agreed to it. It kept bothering me. I was in the Marine Corps and I couldn't forget that lie. But finally, I went to my company commander and told him about it. So he wrote to the commandant of the Marine Corps in Washington, D.C., and it came back. No problem. Funny, when I first mentioned it to him, he said, "You and who else lied about it?" So this is unusual, somebody coming in and admitting it. My company commander called me in and told me that I was being given a very special assignment. I would be given 2 corporals to assist me in the job. We would be training a platoon of 29 Navajos in the use of all types of our communication equipment and procedures. This would include field telephone, TBX radio, SCR portable radio, semaphore, and the International Morse Code. We taught them how to make emergency repairs. It was the day of the vacuum tube. They carried extra tubes and everything. They were taught how to troubleshoot and correct things that if they had problems. After we finished teaching them how to use all of our equipment, we headed for the South Pacific. I was the message center for the island, and I had people assigned to me for doing that. Our job was to handle all the communications for the island. They started sending these guys out in pairs up to the Solomon Islands. They were confusing the Japanese so much with their conversations in their own language. It was really something. Word got back that some of the prisoners were talking, that we had captured, were talking about the difficulty they were having with communications. The Japanese, they had already decoded our secret ways of sending coded messages. This allowed the Marines to communicate with each other through the Code Talkers. I think it was one of the most important things that happened during the war. They did a real good job doing this. Their language was not known by anybody else, and during the war, it was adapted to our alphabet with names of animals, things in their own language. The Japanese couldn't find anything out about the major equipment and major moves that the Marine Corps was making. Finally reached a point to where they were back towards Japan, and our president decided to go ahead and drop the bomb because the Germans had already given up and Europe was safe. I was about halfway through the second lieutenant training when the war was over. They said, if we discharge you without you finishing the lieutenant school, you have to be discharged at your present rank, which is private first class. That really worried me a little bit at the time, but you realize I was still young and I wanted to get started with life. And so I went out. Went to college under the GI Bill of Rights, got my degree. While I was there, I met the sweetest person in the world, my dear wife, Geraldine. I tried to get her to marry me while we were still in college, but she says, when you graduate, we'll marry. Well, boy, she was smart. We got married the day after I graduated. We had reunited with Carl Gorman and his wife, Mary. We went there for the parade that they were having. And these guys always marched in the parade, and they had developed their own uniform. He had to lie about his age. He was too old, so he told him he was young, whatever it was, to get in. After the war, Carl's wife, Mary, wanted to get special recognition for what they did, and she started working on it. She just kept working and gradually going up the ladder and winning some successes and getting politicians to listen to her, and she finally did it. A golden medal for the first 29, and she got a silver medal for all of the rest of them. They arranged to where the government would pay the expense for them to go to Washington, D.C. to get the golden medals.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Washington, D.C. The gentlemen with us, John Brown, Chester Nez, Lloyd Oliver, Alan Dale June, and Joe Palmer, represented by his son Kermit, are the last of the original Navajo Code Talkers. In presenting gold medals to each of them, the Congress recognizes their individual service, bravely offered and flawlessly performed. With silver medals, we also honor the dozens more who served later with the same courage and distinction. And with all these honors, America pays tribute to the tradition and community that produced such men, the great Navajo Nation.
Mary called me and asked me if I would like to go, and you can get on the plane with the guys that's coming from out there. And at that time, my wife was very ill, and I couldn't go. The medals were for the success and what they did in secret. That wasn't an easy job, adapting their language, things in their language to English. I have always felt a special closeness to this first class of 29 Code Talkers. I had a small but integral part in helping them train for the difficult, important job they had been assigned by the Marine Corps. And I'm extremely proud to have been associated with them. They helped to shorten the war and enhance the meaning of the Marine Corps slogan, Semper Fidelis, always faithful. This is John W. Hood, formerly Master Technical Sergeant in the United States Marine Corps, signing off. May God bless all of you.